10:01, let's rock and roll. Welcome to the Hammerdown Podcast, where we put the pedal to the metal and talk trends, tech, and tunes. Today, I've got a repeat guest coming back to the show by popular demand. I've got the king of retail, Johnny Serrano from Acumera. Johnny, how you doing today?
Doing great. Happy to be the first time to have a repeat guest on the show.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to connect back up with you. I know, we've got a long history together in our past life, but why don't you tell us now what you're doing over at Acumera from what your role is over there and what you guys are doing?
Sure. So I'm a senior director of both managed network security and edge computing. So for Acumera, what we are is a leading end-to-end network security and edge computing service provider dedicated to the multi-site operator space for retail.
Awesome. So today, what we're going to talk about is the intersection of AI and edge computing and why that's important for where the market's moving forward. As we know, technology isn't the same as it used to be. It's evolved so much. And right now with the edge computing, that's one of the keys to unlocking the artificial intelligence. And since your domain's retail, mine was healthcare, we had a lot of back and forth. You always wanted to be on the healthcare team and do what we were doing. You always gave me a hard time that I wanted to be on the retail team. But Johnny, let's talk about, since you're the expert, why should retailers really be looking at edge computing, especially with the AI component?
Yeah, I mean, I think first, really, in our history, we've always kind of had these pillars and foundations of what we were doing. And as we look at AI, you really have to have a solid foundation for it. So the way that I kind of look at it is you have your data component, your networking component, security component, and then also edge computing component. To really be able to leverage AI, you need to really have all four of those in line. So that's a really big piece of what we're doing today. We're talking really specifically about edge computing, and I think how that fits into that is with most retailers, you're talking about distributed sites, 1,000+ locations, and really to take in all that data, you have to be able to do the processing at the edge, and that's really how edge computing fits into that. And if you're not doing it, you're going to get left behind, and that's in the retail space.
Yeah, a lot of what we talk about with artificial intelligence and machine learning, Johnny, and you being, getting rid of the crystal ball, and that's our theme over here at LifeScale. Um, we talk quite a bit about how do we get that actionable data in real time, and the edge allows that to happen because the data is getting collected and then processed versus the monolithic, on-prem data centers, hybrid cloud. Those kind of those infrastructures are still needed because you have to go and store and retain that data, but to make actionable decisions in real time from what you're talking about at the edge, that's going to be very critical moving forward.
Yeah, no, I think it's a huge piece of it, and I'm really excited to be in the space and really be able to go out and influence retailers' business around AI and edge computing.
Yeah, and so Johnny, why don't we talk about how the network and security component in edge computing gives an advantage to what you're doing versus how traditional systems are built out from a retail perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big components there is, there's a common theme in retail, being distributed enterprises, being able, how do you really manage thousands of locations and how do you deploy them? And what we do as a managed service provider and having the network component and the security component, we're able to provide customers with, basically 100% uptime at all the locations to be able to do all the processing and send that data up to whether it's going to, Azure, GCP, or whatever, and have all that happen in real time. So for retail and specifically, if there's an outage in the store, that's lost revenue. So being able to provide that connectivity component is a key piece to what we do. But then also security behind that. Everything that is in a retail store needs security from a networking perspective. So being able to secure all those different pieces, being a PCI compliant solution are big key factors for retailers.
No, and that's awesome. And let's transition over to tech because a lot of what we've talked about is the experience, in the retail space and some of the cool things that are going on that you're seeing. So, when we talk about the technology, what is the edge computing doing to leverage the AI from purely a technical perspective, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of great use cases for it. What I see today is, there's little things like the ability to do dynamic pricing on shelf, right? So being able to go in there and say, hey, it's a Friday or Saturday afternoon, we're going to change beer liquor sales to X percentage at a grocery store, and do a lot of those things based on supply and demand in regional locations. That's a really big piece when you're talking about, a large amount of stores, being able to dynamically change stuff like that. And then also components around automating real-time inventory. If in some instances, there's regions that may specifically have not as many as particular product or need has higher demand. You're able to automate ordering and getting actual stuff to those areas. So there's a lot of different things. I look at it on the customer experience side too. We see a lot in the restaurant space, a big move to AI around drive-through and all these different pieces happening. How you order, it may not even be a real person anymore, and there's a lot of benefits to what they're doing there, being able to link stuff to your app when you place an order, and being able to offer you upgrades and kind of move your overall price per visit based on using AI to leverage that and make it a better experience. If I pull up to a hamburger place, right, and they know that I order a number one every day with cheese, being able to pull that up and make it quicker, and then ask me if I want to add something along with it that I like, makes the overall customer experience better. So a big thing for retail right now is also personalization, being able to separate themselves from everyone else and provide a customized experience. And a lot of that's going to be driven by the ability to do AI and bring in a lot of the data components that they've had for years. You look back on retailers and you'll see that a lot of them have had all this data for years on customers. They've been buying, you go back 10, 15 years. Um, you remember like the East Bay catalogs that you
East
get in the
Bay.
mail,
Ooh.
lands in all these different places. They've had customer data for years, but now it's how do we start leveraging that and using it for actionable intelligence?
Right. And so that's what we do, Johnny, is we talk about how do we leverage that historical data. And like I was joking with you before, my background's healthcare. I don't know what the retail numbers are, but in healthcare, 97% of that data has not been out there. But we talk a lot about personalization, whether it's in healthcare or when you talk about edge computing with autonomous vehicles, but getting that personalized experience. And the other thing that's been crazy is the staffing issues, right? So you think common sense would tell you, okay, these are the peak hours. Well, when we had the historically actionable data and we can go model it out and say, all right, well, we know that people go buy coffee between 6 a.m. and 8:30 is the peak hours. It should be staffed accordingly. But there's these we've been on the road for years, and there's a surge. Go try to find somewhere in between your lunch meeting and your dinner meeting to go get coffee or whatever in the afternoon. So it should be staffed accordingly. But those things like who's buying coffee in the afternoon? Somebody needs Wi-Fi. I mean, that's literally where some of those staffing issues can get ironed out. In the supply chain, managing supply chain and being on top of that with those real-time data feeds and making it actionable eliminates some of the errors on there. But I do love the drive-through example, and I saw that a major um, private equity-owned drive-through shop the other day. It was very interesting to be able to have the experience go much quicker and smoother. I don't think we had an error, but I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's where the market's going to go to. But if edge computing is going to secure that, that was always the big concern in our last role is like, how are you securing all this data in this distributed environment? Now, to me, the edge computing married up with the AI, taking all the historical data and looking at all of the pricing models, the inventory levels, and the personalization. Like you said, if I go to pick a major place, I'm sure that if I open my Starbucks app every morning, it could probably order for me if the AI gets there at some point in time, because I haven't had a different order in like 6 years. So
Yeah, no, those are good points. That's a shameless plug for me as we kind of move forward here. So next week we'll be at NRF,
mm.
booth number 6645. One of the things that we're actually doing is if I'll kind of post our meeting link here in the comments, but if you're a retailer, you come by, we'll let you experience the Starbucks digital experience, right? We'll give you a gift card. You get coffee on us. There's a Starbucks at the conference. The line's usually like 20 minutes long, but if you order in the app, you can go pick it up in 15 minutes. No need to wait. So that's a great use case of a mobile app digital experience for coffee.
So that's interesting that you say that, because we are going to be at Spacecom booth 711. It will be at HIMSS booth 2089. Spacecom's at the end of the month. We're doing a personalization. You have to stop by our booth as well. Trish will be there. We've got this awesome personalization, and then we're having another one built for healthcare. But that's how we take the artificial intelligence and machine learning to make these things, and it's going to be pretty awesome. So good plug, Johnny. NRF. Looking forward to you texting me pictures of you guys doing fun things. We talked about when we were at HIMSS. You're like, "Hey, do you guys have any fun?" Yeah, we're going to try to solve for sepsis and medical errors. And you're like, "Dude, we're going to have custard or something." I was like, "Man, you guys live the life, so it's all good." But yeah, stop by. You're the king of retail for a reason. So, um, anything else you want to talk about technology wise, Johnny, or we want to transition over to tunes?
No, I think we covered it. I'm ready to jump in the tunes.
Yeah, so we'll close out the technology though. Johnny and I have a lot of experience. We both aren't as old as we look, but at the end of the day, we would love to come in and talk to you jointly about doing some edge computing, artificial intelligence. How do we leverage this? Whether it's retail space, autonomous vehicles, healthcare, it's a new way, because the way the market's moving is direct to 5G, and there's all kinds of really big advances in technology that we talked about. But this is like corporate Christmas for me, Johnny. You're the guest. Repeat customer, love you on. By popular demand, I asked you for the band. You said Rage Against the Machine. Love Rage Against the Machine. We're in the generation where that was super popular. Johnny, why do you like Rage Against the Machine?
Yeah, I mean, big 90s rock guy, grew up on this music. So I always think about Rage like Guitar Hero, man. So I used to play all those songs on Guitar Hero. It's awesome. Um, that was kind of like after they were already, that's years later, but Tom Morello and Rage is awesome. So yeah, my first song for Rage is
But
really
hang on. We got to go through some facts before we get to the songs.
okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Founded in 1991, they're out of the Rick Rubin stable of bands that he influenced. 4 studio albums. They broke up 3 times. I personally like their Audio Slave work better, but I mean, Rage Against the Machine is pretty important to the grunge movement. Um, Random strange fact: Tom Morello, I do like him. I think he's a great guitarist. But there's 2 things that I'm going to give you two facts. He's been interviewed multiple times and said, "Hey, listen, I want to." I play guitar the way I did to disrupt the DJ, because the DJ started coming out in the mid '90s to where the DJ and some of that music. But he said that he plays his guitar that way to eliminate the DJ so that he could play guitar. And then he is actually from my hometown, Libertyville, where we lived for 15 years, and he's probably the most famous person to come out of Libertyville. So we'll leave those as facts. But Johnny, we'll go fantasy football style. Let's talk about how we align Rage Against the Machine toward the industry trend of artificial intelligence and machine learning in retail. I'll give you the first one. We'll go fantasy football style.
All right. So first one is Bulls on Parade. So that's kind of like their number one song first out of the gate is Bulls on Parade. And why I picked that song, I think we're really gonna a bull market for edge computing and AI. I think that's where everyone's going in the retail space. And I know at NRF this week, there's going to be a lot of talk about AI and edge computing, and that's where the future is.
Just remember your friend, and our firm builds all the algorithms to go do all this stuff. So just remember me when these guys come up. I'm going to take 2, Johnny. I'm going to take Testify. Uh, to me, that's more about data flow and artificial intelligence. The song has nothing to do with it, just what the vibe is on it. And then Sleep Now in the Fire. I think that sometimes if the Sleep Now in the Fire gives that same vibe about how do we take the stuff off of the edge and make it more in line with nature. Johnny, I'll give you the last one, and then we'll close out strong. Who you got? What do you got for the
Yeah.
last one?
So my last one is Renegades of Funk. And the reason I picked Renegades of Funk, because we're the Renegades. We're going to go out and help solve these customer challenges and problems with AI and edge computing.
Yeah, I agree, Johnny. And there's no better time to do it. There's a lot of change in the market. There's a lot of confusion. There's always a disruption. The way certain costs are presented to the marketplace, and how do we build something better? There's a move afoot of how do I do this? We do a variety of different services, but how do we re-platform something and still make money? I mean, talk about retail. It's all about every transaction counts. So that's some of the consulting work we do as well to get somebody to leverage that AI and then bring in the edge compute. So looking forward to our some joint barnstorming again. NRF, what's you got your booth number, Johnny?
Yeah, it's 6645.
6645. Go see Johnny Serrano and the Acumera folks at NRF. We will be down at uh, Spacecom booth 711 and then 2089 at HIMSS. Spacecom's at the end of the month here in January, and then HIMSS is in March. But we'll be down there. Like we talked about the personalization. Check it out. Listen, like it, share it, tell your mom, tell your friends. Johnny, thanks for being on. Repeat guest. Um, have a good day.
Awesome.